Good morning, everyone. Let's stand up and Juliana, you did a prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, or forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Do not bring us to the test, but deliver us from evil. Amen. So, thank you. Please be seated. So before I proceed to the lesson, I will gonna check your attendance first. Okay? Santiago. What about Amir? Jenna? So Jenna is absent. Let's proceed. What about Nori? Is she present or absent? Okay. So before I proceed to the proper lesson, I will gonna ask somebody to raise the right hand to answer. So who among you here remembered what was our last discussion yesterday? Yes? Exactly. Our discussion last day is talks about the music in Southeast Asia, the the history, the geographical, yeah, including the instrument, yeah, and the music itself. So thank you. You may sit down. So before I begin, so I will gonna read the objective first. The first objective is at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to identify and understand what are the forms of music in the East Asia. And the second is the student should be able to differentiate the instrument that being used in each country. And the third one is the student should be able to demonstrate the music in East Asia. So, so before I proceed to the proper lesson, I will gonna give some activity in order for you to have a hint so that like what would be our topic that we will going to tackle this day. So just raise your hand if you know the answer upon showing a picture. So I have here this activity called a guess a picture. So if you know the answer, so you can raise your right hand. So let's begin. Guess what country they from? Anyone? Exactly. Yes, they are from China. And the second, what about this one? Guess culture, what were they from? Yes, they are from Korea. And the last one, this one. What about this? Can you guess where country they are from? They are from Japan. Exactly. Since you are really good at guessing in appearance of a certain people, so let's proceed now to the alphabet. Let me see if you can guess this one first. Guess where this alphabet came from. Um, um, this one. Yeah, if you see this one. Exactly. This is from Japan. What about this? I know you're quite familiar with this since this is in a new generation. Uh-huh. Yeah. It is from Korea. It's a Korean. What about this? Yes, it is from China. Yeah. So, you have already an idea what would be the topic that we will going to tackle this morning. So, the topic that we will going to tackle this morning is all about East Asia music, specifically the three countries which are the Japan, the China, and the Korea. Yes. So, China. China, it is a culture, is one of the world's oldest culture tracing back to the thousand of years ago. Important components of Chinese culture including ceramics, architecture, music, literatures, martial arts, cuisines, visual arts, philosophy, and religion. So, China, it is very known here in the Philippines since we have this cheap brands and what we call a China brand, something like that. It is a very cheap brands, but it's good at all. And the one that we always see in the TV, the martial arts, something like that, it is also derived from China. And also the musical genre. China has the musical genres which are the Chinese rock, which means it's just a Chinese pop song something, and the Chinese hip hop. It is a rap. The Northwest Wind. This genre is a fast tempo, strong beat, and extremely aggressive bass line. So meaning it's more aggressive compared to Chinese pop songs. And the Basha Say You. It is a survival form of a traditional music. And the Dongjing. Dongjing. It is a ritual music. What about the Gangtai? The Gangtai, it is a C-pop, not a Chinese pop, but it is a Canto pop. Canto pop, a musical style from Hong Kong and Taiwan. Zogu Fing, it is a traditional music style and it's instrumental. And Xiyan Goyi, it is the regional Chinese ritual music. And Chinese classical music it's also rooted in the tradition of Western cultures, including both liturgicals and secular music. So, who among you here very familiar with a type of genres in China? It's like it's like the Chinese rock. I guess it's quite familiar in TikTok. There's a lot of Chinese rock, Chinese pop songs in TikTok, and it is very, very, very known. And let's proceed to the traditional instrument of China, ear ho. I really don't know what is this. I don't know if you're familiar with it, so let me show it to you. It is the ear ho, this one. And the pipa. Pipa, it's something like a guitar. It's the traditional version. The Gozing. Gozing. This one. This is the Gozing. The dizzy flute. So we already know what is the flutes. Floats. Floats. Flutes. Yes. That was the common traditional instrument that being used in China. Since we finished discussing about the historical background of China and the instrumental uses, let's proceed to Japan. Japan is very, very one of the most rich country in Asia. Japan. Japan, much Japan earliest culture, including the art, language, Buddhism, and Confucianism, was derived from China. So it is also derived from China. It is also came from China, and over the years, it has become a Japanese. During a period of civil wars, in 15th and 16th feudal system, much like of the medieval Europe developed. So the culture, so the early culture of Japan is also derived from China. So meaning, until I guess until now, there's also a part of the culture of Japan that came from China. So let's proceed to the musical genres of a Japan. J-pop. J-pop it is a Japanese pop. Simple as pop. The traditional music. Oh yes, the traditional music, Japanese music. The gagaku. It is a court music. I already know that you know what is meaning of the court. Inca. Resemble traditional. It's all about traditional. Visual kei. Visual kei. It is beyond a subculture. It's like it's combining all of the music. Like yes, it's all of the music since it's what it was written as a visual. The Japanese rock, J-rock influenced by American and the British. So meaning the the tone of this, the way is came from the America and British. And the Japanese hip hop, it is very common since Japanese hip hop, it is also it's like Japanese rap. It's a rap. Show me you. Japanese Buddhist chant. It's like a traditional Buddhism, something like that. City pop style is pop and soft rock. So meaning a style is a pop, something like a J-pop, but it must it more soften. Nagauta. Long song accompanies with kabuki theater. So meaning kabuki theater, so theater it is something like accompanied with dance, music, and something like um acting. Yeah, it's a theater. Kayokyoko become base of a modern J-pop. Ryokuka. It is popular music in Japan. I really don't know what's this. Japanese jazz, usually played by musicians and mostly connected to the Japan. So this Japanese jazz, it is came from. I mean, the reason or the behind of this is all about the culture. The culture one. I mean, you style of Japanese accompanied with folk, folk singing. So, since we finished tackling the musical genres of Japan, so let's proceed to the traditional instrument that being used. First is shakuhachi rather, sorry. Shakuhachi it is kind of flute, something like a flute. It is a wind instrument. The koto, it is similar with a gongzong in China. The sanshin and the shamisen. So, since I am not familiar with this, I will let you show this so that you will know what is the face of this one. Yeah, and the biwa. Biwa is something like a small guitar. Yeah, small guitar with a four strings. The taiko, it is something like a drum. Yeah, it's drum. It's very traditional drum. It's not common. So we finished the Japan. So let's proceed to the last one, which is the Korea. Korea. Traditional Korea borrowed much of its high culture from China, including the use of Chinese characters in the written language and the adoption of Neo-Confucianism as the philosophy of the ruling elite. Buddhism, originally from India, came to Korea from China and Korea spread to Japan. So basically, this China is the most origin of all. From Japan, the characters of Japan, the characters of Korea are borrowed from China. The culture itself, it is also borrowed from China. But the time passed by, it it can be used, or it can be called by their own, like they call this one as their own. But so we won't wonder why China, Japan, and Korea are really look similar. Yes. So let's proceed to the Korean's musical genre. K-pop. K-pop, from the word itself, K-pop, Korean pop. It is very common in this generation. The truth, it is the repetitive rhythm and vocal inflections. The pansori, it is the storytelling performed by a singer. Yeah. Korean court music, so from the word itself, court, so it's very understandable. The sanju perform on a solo melodic, so it means one person will gonna perform this in the melodic tone. And aak, aak. It is a genre. It's also from a Korean court music. Pongmul, including the drumming, the singing, the dancing. It's something like combination of this. The Korean ballad, from the word it's a ballad, we already understand what it is. The dangak, traditional Korean court music as well. And the samulnori, it is a genre of percussion music. The hayangak, it is the indigenous native music from Korea. Gaguk, gaguk, it is a vocal music for mixed female and male voices. So it's gonna be combination of a female and male voice. Korean rock. We all know what is Korean rock, since we already heard that one. We already encountered that one. Yes, as from the word itself, rock, we know what it is. So let's proceed to the Korean traditional instrument, the gayagyu, and the gyumungo. I am not really familiar with this, since I really don't know what it is. But for you to know, I will gonna show the picture to you. This one. Sorry. Yes, this is one of the strings instrument from Korea. It's almost the same, but I guess there's just small differences of it. I think the strings, the form of the strings, or the sounds itself, the Jonggak Ajing and the Sanjo Ajing. So it is similar from the last word, the Ajing. Yeah. As you can see, it is very similar, but there's a difference. It's the strings, only the strings, in the height and also the size. And something like a pen. I know it's not a pen, but it's like, I really don't know what it is like we called in the violin. Yeah. The yang gyum and the hey gyum. This yang gyum is something like this, and the hey gyum, it is something like this. I am not really familiar with this, since I didn't see this in the personal. The daegyum and the danso. This daegyum and the danso, it is a wind instrument. It's something like a flute, but there's just a differences. The colors, the size, the style, yeah. Tongsu. Tongsu, it is also a wind instrument. And the G instrument also. The pili, it is also a wind instrument. It is something like a flute, but just a very small difference, just has a very small difference. Samuel Janggu. I really don't know. It's like a, let me show to you. Yeah, that is like a drum, something like use like a drum. And the storybook, it is kinda look like a tennis ball. Yeah, but it is actually the one of the traditional instrument that being used by Japan. So I guess we, oh, let me ask you, did you understand what did I say, or do you have um any questions or clarifications? You can ask me before I will going to proceed to the next activity that we will going, or that I will going to give you. So no one's, so I assume that you already understand. So, and now let's proceed to the activity. Yes, the activity. So, since I already tackled to you what, um before the activity, before I forgot, I will going to to differentiate with you what are the differentiate with you the J-pop and the Korean pop, and also the ritual and the, what do you call this, the ritual and the ritual and the, what was that, and the folk songs. So when we say the folk songs, it is a, basically it is a traditional songs. It is form of cultural songs. And when we say the ritual songs, it is form of the ritual ceremonies, something like that. And K-pop and J-pop, it has also small differences. But in overall, J-pop and K-pop are the same, but the big difference is in how the manager will going to train them. And also the, aside from aside from the language, since J is for Japanese and K is for the Korean, the different also is the culture. Yeah. So I assume that you already understand what did I discuss all about. So we will going to proceed to the next activity, and I will going to um assign a group each group at least 3 to 5 person per group, and each group must perform the task that being picked by the leader. So I will going to give a paper that will roll. So the all you gotta do is what the leader pick. It can be found in the genre of a music. Yes, it can be found in the genre of your music. So what we're gonna do is you just perform the one of the music there in each country. We're gonna song the music, one of the music there in the country. And I have this criteria. The voice is 30%, the pronunciation, or the clarity of the pronunciation is 20, and the timing of the song 30, and overall impact 20. So the total is 100%. So what will you gonna do is you're just going to perform each music, or I gave I gave very common genre that can be found, or that can be known here in the Philippines. So each genre there is very known. So I guess you are not going to 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 face difficulties of it since it is already known. So tomorrow you will gonna present that one tomorrow, and I really hope that you 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 understand my discussion. I really hope that at least a little you have a knowledge, or there's something sink in your mind. So if you have some clarification, or what, you can ask me directly. Okay? So that's all for this day. Thank you so much and goodbye.